Now we will see unit impulse function. Okay, we'll go for the impulse function. Unit impulse function. Unit impulse function. Okay, this unit impulse function is the most widely used elementary signal in the analysis of signals and systems. This unit impulse function is the most widely used elementary signal. Most widely used elementary signal in the analysis of the signals and systems. Okay, it plays a major role in analysis of signals. Generally, this unit impulse function is represented with this unit impulse function is represented with del of t. So we'll represent this unit impulse function with del of t. So as I am using t, it is an continuous time unit impulse function. So first I will explain with respect to continuous time variable t, and then I will go for the discrete time variable n. Okay. Now a continuous time unit impulse function is represented with del of t, and it plays an important role in the analysis of signals. Okay. Now how we will define this unit impulse function? Now unit impulse function is defined like this. It is defined as integral minus infinity to plus infinity del of t dt equal to 1. The unit impulse function is defined as integral minus infinity to infinity del of t dt equal to 1 and del of t equal to 0, for t not equal to 0, so we can define the unit impulse function as integral minus infinity to infinity, integral minus infinity to plus infinity del of t dt equal to 0 and del of t equal to 0 for t not equal to 0. That means the amplitude or the magnitude of this unit impulse function is 0 for all the values of t, except at t equal to 0. That means it has the value only at t equal to 0. The unit impulse function has the value only at t equal to 0. For all the remaining values, that is t not equal to 0, for all the remaining values, the amplitude or the magnitude of this unit impulse function is 0. Okay, so it is represented, and this represents the area of the unit impulse function curve is unity. The area of the curve or the area of the pulse is unity. So now we will represent the graph for this one. If we represent the graph for this one, how the graph will be? See, the graph will be like this. So I said t, this is 0. This is 0. So 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, except this 0 for all the remaining values. That unit impulse function is 0. There is no signal. And at 0 we have a signal. And the area of this pulse should be equal to 1. It has a unit area. The impulse unit function has a unit area. As it has a unit area, the impulse function has a unit area. It is called as unit impulse function. See here, this height of the arrow mark represents the area of this pulse. That is, this one represents the area, not the amplitude. Here, the amplitude of this signal unit impulse function is infinite. See arrow mark, it goes upwards. That is, here the amplitude of this unit impulse function is infinite. So it is infinite. The height is infinite, but the area represented with the curve will be equal to 1. So here the 1 represents the area, not the amplitude. If I want to say exactly, the amplitude of this signal, the amplitude of this unit impulse function is infinite is infinite, and the area of that pulse is 1. So here the 1 represents the area. Okay, how can you write this in an equation format? See, I can define unit impulse function like this: del of t equal to actually infinite at for t equal to 0, and del of t equal to 0 for t not equal to 0. So here actually the amplitude is 1. Okay, sorry, the amplitude is infinity and the area is 1. So here the amplitude is infinity, but our simplicity, our convenience, we will replace this with 1 in many cases. Replace with this 1. But here the 1 is not the amplitude or the height. Here the 1 is nothing but the area of the curve, area of the signal, okay, area of the pulse. The 1 represents the area. The 1 represents the area. Okay, so it's 1 does not represent the height or amplitude, because for unit impulse function at t equal to 0, the amplitude is infinity. So you have to make a note of it 1. Okay, how can you get that as 1? Simple. For your better understanding, I will give you an example. Let us take a waveform like this. Let us take a waveform like this. Okay, now here say it is minus a and this is plus a. Anything, you can take anything, and the height is 1 by 2a. Height is 1 by 2a. Okay, and now if I need the area of this curve or pulse, this rectangular pulse, I need the area. How can I get the area? Length into breadth or height into width. Okay, the product of two sides. So the length of this side is, this is 0 to minus a and 0 to plus a, that is total 2a. So this is 2a. Okay, into height is 1 by 2a. So 1 by 2a gets cancelled. So the area is 1. Now see, in the next case, if it is reduced to half, that is minus a by 2, this is also half, plus a by 2, reduced to half. If I want to get the area as 1, then what I have to do? The width is reduced, I have to increase the height. That means here the height will be increased. To make the area as 1, height is increased. Now, so see, this is minus a by 2 plus a by 2, that is a by 2 plus a by 2. What? 2a by 2, that is 2 to the a. So the length is a and the height will be equal to 1 by a. So what happens? A into 1 by a, because this height is 1 by 2a. As I increase it, the height will become as 1 by a. So that will be equal to 1. So the value of 1 by a is greater than 1 by 2a. For your example, if a equal to 5, then 1 by 2 into 5, 1 by 10. So 1 by 10 is 0.1. 1 by a, that is 1 by 5. So 1 by 5 is equal to 0.2. That means here the width is reduced to half and the height is doubled. It is half in x-axis and in y-axis it is doubled, because this is total 2a. 2a will become as a, that is a has become as a by 2 and 2a become as a. Here 1 by 2a become as 1 by a. Okay, so as it is half, it is increased to double. So as it is half, it is doubled. If you reduce this somewhat, to make the area 1, we have to increase the length. Length should be increased. So in this way, to get the area as 1, what have to do? So you have to further increase. This curve also having area 1. Simple. That means as this a value tends to 0, what the value of 1 by as a value tends to 0. A value tends to 0. This is 0. Now 1 by a. 1 by a. So on x-axis the a value is going to 0. It is reducing, it comes to 0. Then height has to increase. So where it has to increase? See, if it is a, then here I have to 1 by 2a. 1 by a. Here it is 2a. Height is 1 by 2a. Width is a. Height is 1 by a. Okay. If you go on like this, if on x-axis the value is 0, on y-axis we will have the value as 1 by 0. 1 by 0 is infinity. So the height will become as infinity. If a tends to 0, then 1 by a, that is 1 by 0, that implies infinity. So the amplitude or height or amplitude is infinite. So as it comes to this one, so 0 means this is the line. Amplitude is infinite, magnitude is infinite, but the area of that one is 1. So this is the example for that one. So I hope you have clear idea how we'll get the 1 for this. Area of this one is 1. For that, this is the explanation. That is the explanation. Okay, clear? Now, so this is explanation of how we get the definition for this unit impulse function. So what will you say? Unit impulse function del of t equal to 1 for t equal to 0, and that will be equal to 0 for t not equal to 0. For t not equal to 0. Okay. Here 1 represents the area, not the magnitude or amplitude. Here the magnitude at t equal to 0, the magnitude or amplitude of this unit impulse function is infinite. So here this one represents the area. Okay, so you have to remember this one. So this will remember, this is for area, not for the. So how can I get the 1 as area at 0? So this is the explanation for that one. This is the explanation. So as a tends to 0, so if you go this will be infinite. Hence the arrow mark shows the amplitude is infinite, but the value at this arrow mark, the height resembles the area. Okay, this is regarding unit impulse function. Okay, unit impulse function. Now we will see the delayed version of unit impulse function. See, delayed del of t minus a, del of t minus a, or del of t minus t naught. You can write anything, t minus t naught. So in place of a you can write t naught also. There is no, you can write anything. Now del of t minus t naught, del of t minus t naught. So you can use a or you can use t naught, whatever it may be. Now for this I have to write the waveform. How the waveform will be? This is 0. Actually the pulse is at t equal to 0. If you consider this, if you assume this as a pulse, the pulse will be at t equal to 0, but I delayed by t naught seconds. Okay, so that is right shift. So there is some value of t naught here. So the pulse, instead of starting at 0, it will start at t naught. And the unit impulse function has the only value at t equal to 0. So in del of t minus t naught, that unit impulse function has the value only at this function. Del of t minus t naught will have only value at t equal to t naught. Okay, so at this is the value, and this is 1. In all other remaining cases that will be 0. Or simply, if you want to write it in an equation form, how will you write? Simple. Del of t minus, you can use either T naught or A. There I use T naught, here I am using A. Del of T minus A equal to 1 for T equal to A, and this will be equal to 0 for T not equal to A. T not equal to A. Here it is T naught. It is T naught. So we have the value only at T equal to T naught. T equal to T naught, we have the value. This is T. Now the remaining prices, it is 0. So you can remember anything. In place of T naught, if you have 2, del of T minus 2, then how can you write the waveform? This waveform, del of T minus 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So I need a del of T minus 2. T minus 2. Instead of starting at 0, it will start at 2. Start at 2. So this is the waveform for del of T minus 2. Okay, del of T minus 2. Okay. So this is how, if you want, this is how we will represent the delayed version of unit impulse function. Delayed version of unit impulse function. So for this, if you want to write the graph, how can you write? This is 0 and here is A. Okay. Or if I have the axis for 0, so this is the time axis, you think. This is the normal axis. So at 0 there will be no value. At 0 there will be no value. I doesn't write this line because you will get confused. For that I am not writing it. So this is general x-axis and y-axis. General x-axis and y-axis. So you get confused. For that reason I am removing this line. Okay. If now you will get a clear idea. Okay, clear picture of what an unit impulse function is. So for that reason I doesn't write the y-axis at 0. So generally they have the y-axis at 0, y-axis at 0, y-axis at 0. For your better understanding, I removed that y-axis and I shown the what an unit impulse function is. So this is the unit impulse function representations. So here A, T naught, K, whatever, these are all our assumptions. You can take any letter, but you need to understand the concept. You need to understand the concept. So this is the concept behind this unit impulse function. Now I will go for discrete time unit impulse function. I will go for discrete time unit impulse function. So the discrete time unit impulse function is represented with del of n. Is represented with del of n. Okay, clear? Now see del of n, and del of n equal to, and the unit impulse function in discrete form, the discrete time unit impulse function is defined as del of n equal to 1 for n equal to 0, and del of n equal to 0 for n not equal to 0. See, observe these two. So the below one is continuous time unit impulse function, the above one is discrete time unit impulse function. Here the continuous time is represented with del of t and discrete time is represented with del of n. So del of n equal to 1 for n equal to 0. So whenever there is a n value is 0, the del of n value is 1. Okay, and del of n equal to 0 for n not equal to 0. For n not equal to 0. If we want to write the equation for that one, if you want to write the equation for that one, how will you write? So you have to write the equation for discrete time unit impulse function. Discrete time unit impulse function. That is you have to consider n here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So at n equal to 0 only it has a value del of n, that is 1. So this is the value, that is 1, and this is del of n. This is n, del of n, and this is t, and it has a unit area, that is del of t. Simple. So this is for del of t and this is for del of n. So see, both are same. Only difference is here the letter is n, where it is t, that is the small t is replaced with the small n. The concept is same. Okay, this is the representation or diagrammatic or graphical representation of an unit impulse function. Now, a discrete time delayed unit impulse function, a delayed unit impulse function in discrete time. So discrete time, how can you get that one? So in discrete time also you have to get the equation. So how can you get that one? So where I can write, now I will write here. Okay, del of n minus k, del of n minus k equal to, del of n minus k equal to 1 for n equal to k, and 0 for n not equal to k, not equal to k. So here I have taken the letter as k, here I have taken as a, here I have taken as k. Simple. See, del of t minus a equal to 1 for t equal to a, del of t minus a equal to 0 for t not equal to a. That is for continuous time. So discrete. The t is replaced with n and a is replaced with k. The concept is same. Del of n minus k equal to 1 for n equal to k, and del of n minus k equal to 0 for n equal to n not equal to k. So the t is replaced with n and a is replaced with k. So t equal to a, n equal to k. T is not equal to a, n is not equal to k. Simple one, simple. Now if you want to write a graph for this one, graph for this one, how you will write? Simple. The graph for that one is, so the graph for that one. So this is 0, this is 0, and the k is like here, k is like here. So we have to go for this one. This is 0. So this is del of n minus k. So this is del of n and this is del of n minus k, del of n minus k. So for this is the diagrammatic or graphical representation. For this equation, this is the diagrammatic or graphical representation. Okay, so this is the explanation about unit impulse function for both continuous time as well as discrete time. Okay, now here the important one is the integration of this unit impulse function will give you the unit step function. The integration, see here, the integration of unit impulse function will give you the unit step function. So the integration of unit impulse function is nothing but unit step function. Okay, or differentiation of this unit step function will give you unit impulse function. So integration of this unit impulse function will give the unit step function. In the same way, differentiation of this unit step function will give the unit impulse function. This is the important one. Already explained you the same thing in while explaining ramp signal also. So there the integration of the unit step function, will give the ramp function, or a differentiation of ramp function will give the unit step function. In the same way, I can explain for unit impulse function and unit step function. Okay, clear? So this is regarding the unit impulse function. Now we will see some properties with respect to unit impulse function. Okay, now we will see the properties of unit impulse function. We'll see the properties of unit impulse function. So First one, this property is from the definition itself. While defining the unit impulse function, I said integral minus infinity to infinity del of t dt equal to 1, the first property. So it is from the definition itself. And next, this unit impulse function is an even function of time. Unit impulse function is an even function of time. Even function means del of t will be equal to del of minus t. Del of t equal to del of minus t. Second one. And third one. Here del of at, so scaling factor, we scale with some factor a equal to 1 by mod a into del of t. Important. Del of at equal to 1 by mod a. Mod, that is minus or plus, that is plus mod a. Del of at equal to 1 by mod a into del of t. So third property. So it is from the definition. And if you see del of t, it is an even function. Even function means del of t equal to del of minus t. The next one is del of at equal to 1 by mod a into del of t. And fourth one, consider function, consider continuous time signal x of t. X of t is a continuous time signal function. Okay, if this is multiplied with del of t, x of t is multiplied with del of t, then the answer is x of 0. Then the answer is x of 0. Okay, simple explanation. Let us consider the function of the signal. This is our x of t and this is t, and our del of t is this one. That is, I am multiplying these two. Here all the values are zeros except at t equal to 0. For all the remaining values it is 0. So 0 into anything is 0, and at t equals 0, the del of t, the unit impulse function, has the value 1. So 1 into the value of x of t at t equal to 0. 1 into the value of x of t at t equal to 0. X of t, 1 into x of t at t equal to 0, that is x of 0. So 9, 10, 15 into 0, 0. 9 into 0, 0. But 5 into 1, 5. So we will give the value, it will produce the value at x of 0. So at x of 0, what is the value that will be obtained as a result for x of t into del of t? Because del of t has 0 for all the values except at t equal to 0. At t equal to 0, it is 1. 1 into the value of x of t at t equal to 0 will give x of 0 value. Or x of some function into del of t minus t naught. Can anyone tell me this one? X of t into del of t minus t naught. X of t into del of t minus, simple, same one. Here this is our x of t and this is multiplied with not del of t minus t naught. Now I will get the value, I don't get the value at 0, there is some not t naught, so I will get the value at this one. So this is 1. So at t equal to t naught, we have the value as 1, and all of the remaining cases, that is 0. So this one 0, this one 0, this one, but here there is a t naught, value. At t naught there is some value, that value will be multiplied with 1. So I will get the value of x of t at t equal to t naught. I will get the value of x of t at t equal to t naught. So it will become as x of t naught. So here what I can write? X of t naught. So the answer is x of t naught. So we have many properties, and the last one, I'm giving 5 or 6, the last one. Okay. Up to now I gone for continuous. Let's take the discrete one. Okay. You can write like this. For the discrete, you can write like this. del of n equal to u of n minus u of n minus 1. Del of n equal to u of n minus u of n minus 1. So for this also you can explain. How can you? So this can be shown by using the graphical representation, diagrammatical representation. First consider the u of n. What is u of n? U of n. U is unit step function. Unit step function. U of n. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is u of, sorry, not t, this is n. So this is u of n. Consider n discrete. So I am explaining with respect to discrete. From the top I explained with time, so I different t, but not it is n. Now you go for u of n minus 1. N u of n minus 1. U of n minus 1 starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it won't start at 0. It started at 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Now I have to subtract u of n minus 1 from u of n. U of n minus from, so I have to subtract 1, 1, 1 minus 1, 0. 1 minus 1, 0, 1 minus 1, 1. Here at 0, this is 1, at 0, this is 0. 1 minus 0, 1 minus 0, that is 1. So finally what will get? So subtracting, this is u of n minus 1. Subtracting u of n minus 1 from u of n. What will you get? So all this will be cancelled only at 0 point. At 0, u of n is 1 and u of n minus 1 is 0. So 1 minus 0 is 1. 1 minus 0 is 1. Is it clear? 1 minus 0 is 1. So this is what I will get. This is what I will get. So this is for u of n minus u of n minus 1, which is nothing but our discrete time unit impulse function. Discrete time unit impulse function. So this is nothing but our del of n. Both are equal. Hence del of n equal to u of n minus u of n minus 1. So these are some of the important properties with respect to unit impulse function. Okay. Next we will see signum function. Signum function, the last one in this singularity and related functions with respect to the syllabus. The last one is signum function. We will see the signum function. Okay. Now we will see the signum function, the fourth one, signum function. Okay. Signum function. Okay. Now a unit signum function is defined as how will you define the unit signum function? So before going to the defining the signum function, how the signum function will be represented? How the signum function will be represented? Generally, the signum function or the unit signum function is represented with SGN of t. SGN of t. See, here also I am using t means it is continuous time. So continuous time unit signum function. Continuous time unit signum function. Continuous time unit signum function is represented with SGN of t. SGN of t. Now this unit signum function SGN of t is defined as SGN of t will be equal to 1 for t greater than 0, and the function is equal to -1 for t less than 0. SGN of t equal to 1 for t greater than 0. SGN of t equal to -1 for t less than 0. T less than 0. Okay. So this is how we will define an unit signum function. In general, if you want to make it more perfect, in some cases they will write here Sgn of t equal to 0 for t equal to 0. So they will add this. Actually, Sgn of t equal to 1 for t greater than 0 and Sgn of t equal to minus 1 for t less than 0. But they will add for t equal to 0 it is 0. They will take the average, they will consider the average and they will represent that t equal to 0. For t equal to 0, the signum function will be equal to 0. Okay, so this is how we will define an signum function. Now write the graph for this one. Simple. This is t and this is Sgn of t. So now this is 0 Sgn of t equals 0. Now greater than 0, immediately greater than 0, that is if the t value is greater than 0, Sgn of t equal to 1 immediately. So it is some 1 of 0 for all the values of t, it is 1. Now t less than 0, it is minus 1. So less than 0 is this one, minus 0.1 minus 0.2 less than 0. For all the values of t which are less than 0, the value of Sgn of t is minus 1. So minus 1 is, this is plus 1 and this is minus 1 and this is minus 1. Okay, this is minus 1. Clear? So this is how will you represent an unit signum function. So the waveform of unit signum function, the graphical representation of unit signum function. Simple. In this way we will go for the unit signum function to represent. Okay, here in most of the cases you will find these two only. In most of the cases you will find like this: Sgn of t equal to 1 for t greater than 0 and minus 1 for t less than 0. So we'll find like this most of the cases. So for our simplicity, I am going for Sgn of t equal to 0 for t equal to 0. Okay, if you go for the average of this, at this point it will be 0. Clear? Now first, this is explanation of unit signum function with respect to continuous time signal. Now I will go for the explanation or giving the definition or representation of this unit signum function with respect to discrete time. Okay, discrete time, that is discrete time unit signum function. Discrete time unit signum function is represented with Sgn of n. So a discrete time unit signum function is represented with Sgn of n. Clear? Now this Sgn of n will be equal to. Now I have to define this discrete time unit signum function. Now the discrete time unit signum function is defined as Sgn of n equal to, you can say 1 for n greater than 0 and equal to 0 for n equal to 0 and minus 1 for n less than 0. Minus 1 for n less than 0. Okay, less than 0. Simple. So this is the representation, equational representation of signum function, discrete time unit signum function. Okay, simply the discrete time unit signum function is represented as Sgn of n equal to 1 for n greater than 0, equal to 0 for n equal to 0 and equal to minus 1 for n less than 0. Now I go for the graphical representation. So I have to draw the waveform for the above equation. This is n and here is 0. Now for n equal to 0, n equal to 0, the function sgn of n is also 0. There is no value. Next, for n greater than 0, here this is discrete, so we won't get 0.2, 0.5, 0.6, we won't get like that. We will get only the integer, that is after 0 we have only 1, after 1 2, after 2 3. We will have the values like that only. For as it is a discrete, we don't have the values of 1.5, 2.9, 3.8. We don't have those values. We have the values like 1. We have the values like 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. The same way, -1, -2, -3, -4. So we have the values like this. Okay, -4. Clear? Now, for n greater than 0, n greater than means n value is either 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be. The value of sgn of n is 1. Sgn of n is 1. So this is 1. For n equal to 1, sgn of n equal to 1. For n equal to 2, sgn of n equal to 2. For n equal to 3, sgn of n equal to 3. Sorry. For n equal to 1, sgn of n equal to 1. For n equal to 2 also, sgn of n equal to 1. For n equal to 3 also, sgn of n equal to 1. For n equal to 4 also, the sgn of n is 1. Consider this as 1, the height as 1. So whatever the value of n, if n the value is greater than 0, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the value of n, the function sgn, sgn of n is having value 1. In the same way, for n less than 0, that is -1, -2, -3, -4. So for all the values of -1, -2, -3, whatever the values, -1, -2, -3, whatever the values, the function sgn of n will be having a value -1. So for -1, n value -1, sgn of n is -1. -1. For n equal to -2 also, sgn of n is -1. For n equal to -3 also, sgn of n is -1. For n equal to -4 also, sgn of n is -1. See, these are all -1s. This is 1, this is -1. Amplitude, height amplitude is -1. So this is a +1 and this is -1. So they are all 1s, these are all -1s. Simple. So this is the representation of an signum function, discrete time unit signum function, graphical representation using the equational representation. So using the equation, I gone for the waveform. So in this way, you can draw the unit signum function for both continuous time as well as discrete time. I hope you are all clear with this signum function. Okay. Now, the last one I will go for one thing. Here there is a relation between this unit signum function and unit step function. The relation between unit signum function and unit step function. Relation between unit signum function and unit step function. So what is that relation? I need the relation between unit signum function and unit step function. Simple. The signum function is related to unit step function as 2 into u of t minus 1. Simple. The signum function is equal to 2 twice of the unit step function minus 1. So this is the relation. Or you can write like this. 2 into u of t will be equal to sgn of signum function unit step plus 1. You can write anything. 2 into u of t equal to sgn of t plus 1. So for this you can go for the proof also. See, here I am writing the equation, this one. So you can write -1. So what the equation is? Sgn of t equal to 2 into u of t minus 1. First I know Sgn of t. Sgn of t equal to 2 into u of t minus 1. So first, how will you draw u of t? U of t is unit step function. It has a value of 1 for t greater than 0. Greater than or equal to 0 it is 1. For t less than 0 it is 0. That will be multiplied with 2. That will be multiplied with 2. Then the value will be equal to c. This is t. This is 2 u of t. 2 u of t. U of t is 1. Here 1. That should be multiplied with 2. So this is 2 into u of t. 2 into u of t. Okay. The first one. 2 into u of t. Here. This is the waveform for 2 into u of t. So it has an amplitude of 2 for t greater than or equal to 0, and t less than 0 there is no value, that is 0. 2 into u of t is 0 for t less than 0. Now we go for 1, amplitude 1. Next case is for all it has an amplitude of 1. For all t it has an amplitude of 1. For all t it has an amplitude of 1. So this is for this one. So this is for this one. For amplitude of this is for 1, amplitude 1. Now I have to subtract this 1 from this 2 into u of t. So 2 into u of t minus 1. So here the value is 2. Value is 2. And here the value is 1. So 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. That is from t value from 0 and greater than 0. That is the value of t either equal to 0 or greater than 0. So the t value is from 0 or greater than 0. The value of 2 into u of t is 2. And in this case the value is 1. So from C I am adding the final waveform. See the final waveform. See the final waveform. This is t. This is 0. From 0 and greater than 0. This is 2 and this is 1. So 2 minus 1, that is 1. Goes on, that is 1. Clear? Now t less than 0. T less than 0. The first one is 0. First one is 0. And here t less than 0. T less than 0. Here this one is. This one is t less than 0. This one is 1. So 0 minus 1. 0 minus 1 is minus 1. 0 minus 1 is minus 1. See, this is the waveform of signum function. So 2 into u of t minus 1 will give SGN of t, will give signum, unit signum function. Simple. Actually here the only confusion is here at t equal to 0. For your simplicity, I write u of t is equal to 1 for t greater than or equal to 0. So for that reason I had written like this. Okay. So this is the explanation for this statement. So the relation between unit step function and unit signum function is the unit signum function will be equal to 2 into twice of the 2 into u of t minus 1, that is twice of the unit step function minus 1. So this is completely about unit signum function. So with this I completed all the 4 topics in singularity and related functions. So along with this I will give you a brief note, outline of rectangular function. Outline of rectangular function. Okay. So a rectangular function is represented with rectangular function. Rectangular function generally represented with pi of t by tau. Pi of t by tau, whose value will be equal to 1 for mod t less than or equal to mod t less than or equal to tau by 2, equal to tau by 2, and 0 otherwise, simple. So here generally rectangular function, the rectangular pulse function is represented with pi of t by tau or RECT, rect of So you can represent like this, rect of t by tau. Any of this you can represent like this. In general, they will pi of t by tau equal to 1 for mod t less than or equal to tau by 2. That means, what this means, mod t that is minus and plus. Okay, now this can be written as minus tau by 2 less than or equal to t less than or equal to tau by 2. So this can be written as minus tau by 2 less than or equal to t less than or equal to tau by 2. That means the t value is between minus tau by 2 to plus tau by 2. The value of a rectangular pulse function is 1. Otherwise it is 0. This is the only thing. So see, I'm going with the graph. So this is t, this is t, okay, this is t, this is 0. Now see, this is minus tau by 2, this is plus tau by 2, this is minus tau by 2, this is plus tau by 2. So if the value of t is between minus tau by 2 to plus tau by 2, its amplitude or magnitude is 1. So its value is 1. From here to here, its value is 1. Okay. And all other cases, otherwise, that is for all the remaining cases, for the value of t other than this, the value of t is not between this, it is outside that, the value is 0. See, so this is the graphical representation of a rectangular pulse function. See, it is in the form of a rectangle. Hence it is a rectangular pulse function. So this is represented as pi of t by tau. Clear? So this is just outline of this rectangular pulse function, because this rectangular function is not in our syllabus. So other than the syllabus, I explained you two things. One is parabolic function. Okay, and here there I explained you parabolic, given an outline for parabolic function. Here I will given an outline for rectangular function. In the same way, you have triangular functions, sinc functions. So you can go through the triangular function and sinc function. Okay, so with this we completed the topic singularity and related functions, singularity functions and related functions. Okay, these are all the topics. Now I will go for the summary. Of singularity and related functions topic. Now we will see the summary of singularity and related functions. We will go for the summary of singularity functions and related functions. So for summary, first I explain you what a singularity is. Next I explain what a singularity function is. First I given you the definition for what is singularity, and then I given you the definition for singularity function, and then I gone for the examples of the singularity functions. Examples of these singularity functions. After that, I had given so many examples for singularity functions and related functions. Given singularity functions and related functions, I have given so many examples. So in all those examples in your syllabus, you have only 4 functions. So with respect to the topic singularity functions and related functions, in your syllabus they had only 4 functions. So I explained those functions one by one. First, I explained with respect to step function, unit step function. First I explained unit step function. Next, first I explained unit step function. Next, unit ramp function. Next, after that I had given an outline of a parabolic function also. After this I had given an outline of parabolic function, which is not even syllabus. I just had given an outline of unit parabolic function, given an outline, a brief view. And third one, I explained you clearly about unit impulse function. Unit impulse function, third one. And the last one in our syllabus, that is signum function. I explained you about signum function. Signum function. Okay. So after the signum function, I had given a overview of a rectangular pulse function. Outline of rectangular pulse function. I had given an outline of rectangular pulse function. This is what I explained in this topic, singularity functions and related functions. So I explained both for continuous time and discrete time. It is continuous time unit step function and discrete time unit step function. Continuous time unit ramp function and discrete time ramp function. Continuous time unit impulse function and discrete time unit impulse function, and continuous time unit signum function and continuous time and discrete time unit signum function. Okay. So I explained you all this: unit step function, unit ramp function, unit impulse function, and unit signum function. I had given the graphical representations also with respect to both continuous time and discrete time. Okay. So with this, I completed the topic singularity functions and related functions. Singularity and related functions. Okay, I completed the topic. With this, I finished maximum part of the first unit. So maximum one part of the first unit will be finished. After this, the second part of the first unit, which is a minor one. The major one is the first part. I explained everything in this first unit. I explained everything in the first part of the first unit, which is very, very important for your career. So I went a little bit slow while explaining all these topics because these topics are new to you. So I explained slowly all these topics. Okay. Now we are going to the second part of the first unit, which is nothing but signal analysis. Now we will go for the signal analysis. That is also a new topic. Okay. But I will explain that a signal analysis with the help of a known topic to you. That is vectors. I will consider the vectors explanation, and I will explain the signals with respect to vectors by taking the analogy between vectors and signals. Okay. Now in the next class you will start the second part of the first unit, that is signal analysis. Okay. So with this I finish the first part of the first unit. So we will go for the signal analysis in the next class. Thank you one and all.